This is Here's What I Learned, a podcast that explores the lessons found in business and life. I'm your host, Jackie Hayes, a business consultant and strategist, a reader, homesteader, and superhero fan. In this show, I talk with coaches and service providers. We explore the lessons they have learned running an online business, embracing feminist business practices, rejecting hostile culture, and embracing their roles as CEOs. Welcome to another episode of Here's What I Learned. On today's episode, I am talking with Laura Kelly. Laura is the founder and CEO of TulaBooks. She has more than 15 years of experience in accounting, finance, and HR. And she brings her knowledge to her small business clients every single day. We're going to kick off this episode talking about recovery from burnout, and then we're going to be shifting into outsourcing and why it is so important for your business growth. We're going to be talking about the art of delegation, spending money on your business, and maintaining your boundaries. I hope you enjoy this episode. Laura, I am so excited to have you here today. I'm going to start this out with a question that I've been asking everybody this season, which is, what is something that you are learning or learning about lately?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I know. You told me, you were like, I'm going to have a rapid fire question. And I'm like, oh gosh, what in the world is this going to be? No, that's really good. Okay. Well, this is more of a concept than just a, like, I'm learning how to cross stitch or something like that. I'll say I'm learning to recover from burnout. Let's just put it that way. I recently came out of a period where I hit a wall. I just realized that what I was doing was not sustainable. I wasn't taking care of myself. I have 2 small children at home. I'm building this business from the ground up. So I have a lot on my plate, and I was just pouring everything into others. And I just had a rude awakening, literally had a mental breakdown. And now I'm slowly kind of coming out of that and recovering. So I guess I'm learning how to be in this new space where I'm taking time for myself. Is that allowed? So that's where I'm at.
Definitely allowed. And, you know, I think as you're talking about that, I remember there was a period in my life, I was working full time as an employee, someplace that was a 45-minute drive away. I was also getting my master's degree, half-time student. I was coaching my son's soccer team.
Oh boy.
A single mother.
Yeah.
And everybody treated me like I was this amazing human being. I don't know how you manage it all. And I wore it with a badge of honor. And then I got to the point where I literally was so tired, I couldn't get up the stairs at night to my bed without crying. Like, I would have to sit down halfway, or I'd come home from work and sit down on the stairs where nobody saw me and have a little bit of a cry, because while it seemed to be this amazing thing that I was accomplishing, I was exhausted. I was just completely exhausted.
Yeah. Talk about like knowing like, okay, something's wrong here if I can't walk up a flight of stairs. Oh gosh, but I feel you though. I mean, I maybe didn't have that like clear of a marker, but I think for me, it was like my sleep was trash. Sleep was really bad. Also just generally really low on energy, like having no motivation or desire to wake up early. Even though I knew it was good for me to get up before my kids. But I was just really in a tough space to be able to actually make that happen. So yeah, it just finally became so apparent to me. And also, actually, it was my therapist who pointed it out to me. She said, Laura, you're burnt out. And I'm like, so this is really interesting. I think a lot of people can relate to this. I was like, I'm not burnt out. And the reason I told myself I was not burnt out is because my kids are in full-time daycare. My husband is really, really helpful. I had all these things, all these stories around saying, well, I've got help. I can't be burnt out. I've got support in my business. I can't be burnt out. But the reality is that we all probably have reasons to be burnt out and to be lacking energy. Because yeah, it's great that I have it's fantastic. I'm very lucky to have all the things that I have in place. But that doesn't mean that I'm exempt from pushing myself so hard and being a perfectionist in every area and feeling guilt for not being with my kids more and feeling guilt for not putting more time into the business and like all of these things that just caused me to go down that road. So I realized in that moment when she said that to me, a third party observer, I finally looked at that and said, you know what, maybe she's right. And what would that mean for me? And then that's when everything just unraveled. So it's been a journey ever since then. But I'm so glad she said that because, burnout is everywhere. It's all over social media, anti-hustle culture, blah, 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 and I'm like, no, that's not me. I don't hustle. I don't work at night because I realize I have no energy to work at night with small kids. But still, even with all of those things that I was doing everything right, I still was down that road. So if anyone listening is feeling this way, but feels like they don't deserve to feel that way, just forget that because embrace what you're actually feeling and accept it because that's the only way you're going to be able to move on from it.
Yeah. Yeah. First off, the whole, your sleep, you're exhausted and yet you can't sleep. Generally because,
Yeah.
your mind's spinning when you lay down and everything, your circadian rhythms are a mess and your body doesn't know when it should sleep. But then this idea that, no, I'm not burnt out. I have support. I have help. And I think, one, we're socialized that this is the norm. Like, this is what life is. And two, I tend to think of that there's a significant difference between hard work and hustle. And you can be working hard, really, really hard, and not get burnt out. And a lot of it has to do with our mindset and how we approach things and where we place like our own personal value and how much guilt we, like you said, the guilt of spending more time with your kids, how much are you beating yourself up in the process?
Yeah, it's that undercurrent, that narrative that now that that's slowly starting to quiet for me, I'm still doing the same things I was doing. I'm still taking care of my children. I'm still taking care of the business, but I feel so much more at ease because again, I've welcomed those feelings and I also am trying not to have that undercurrent of guilt and beating myself up and all of that. And it's that mental shift has made a huge difference for me.
What are some of the other practical things that you are doing now that you're learning this lesson?
Well, so one thing I made a commitment to myself in the month of October. So every day this month, I have gotten up at 5:30 a.m. because I know my kids predictably are up around 7. And it's been like that for a while. So I knew that I had this buffer, like this gift of time was always there, but it was so hard for me to just commit to doing it. And I decided, I was like, hell, 30 days, I can do this. Like, even if on November 1st, I go right back to what I did, I am going to do this. And I've really surprised myself with that one small shift. I've now started working out in the mornings. I've started preparing my breakfast and, getting my snacks together and my lunch. Like that one change on October 1st, we're recording this on October 20th, so about 3 weeks later, has catapulted so many things for me because getting that small win, because I heard this somewhere, this is a concept in a lot of places, but it's about like goal setting and how you want to set up your goals based on the things you're going to commit to do, not on the result, right?
Yes.
I heard that recently. I know it's everywhere. I think James Clear talks about that in his book. But I heard it and it finally landed. And I was like, okay, this is the thing. If all I do for 30 days is I wake up at 5:30, because I didn't even commit to like the working out or doing any of the other things. I just said, if I get up at 5:30, it's going to be a win. And those first couple of days, I was like celebrating because like the first thing out of bed, I already hit a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Small wins. Yep.
Literally small wins. And so, again, it just gave me that little jolt of confidence. And then it made me want to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And now, here I am 3 weeks later and I feel like my life's transformed. Yeah. So those are a couple of small things that I'm just looking out for. I also, like I said before, I committed a pretty while ago now that I really can't do like work in the evenings. Like after my kids have gone to bed, I used to be able to do that before I had kids or even when I just had one kid. I could do that kind of like hustle grind thing in the evenings, but now I just know that like my mind will be buzzing and I won't be able to go to sleep until like 2 a.m. So that's another thing that I've just decided, you know what, if it's not done by 5 o'clock when I leave my co-working space to enter into family life, it's going to happen the next day. I'm not going to tell myself, oh, I'll work on that tonight. Because then many times I wouldn't actually work on it that night. And then I would feel fucking guilty about it. Excuse my language. But like, again, the guilt, it's a huge theme.
Yep.
So,
Huge thing.
yeah. So I guess those are just a couple small things that now feel like they've turned into bigger things, and it all started with that mental shift of just saying, I'm committing to do this one thing for myself for 30 days and just see how that experiment went. And so far it's great.
I know a lot of people hear, oh my God, you're waking up at 5:30. You're just, falling into the hustle trap or whatever that happens to be because 5:30 is ridiculous. I'm an early morning person.
Yeah.
I like a slow build to my day, which means waking up early. I've never been a late night person. I mean, maybe when I was like 18 and stupid, but I'm not a night owl. So it's better for me to wake up at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning and have a slow build to my day so that I can be done at 4, because by about 4, my brain is done. It doesn't matter what time of the day I wake up. I could wake up at noon and my brain would still be at 4 o'clock. Nope, I'm done. So, for me to start at 5:30 or 6 is much better. So I can be done with basically everything by 4. I've shut down and it's just leisure time after 4. Now, if you're a night owl, maybe the other way around works better for you. And I think that's the key there. It's not about, what time you wake up. It's about working with what works best for you and your brain, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I didn't mention, I go to bed at like 9:30. So yeah, my time awake is perfect for me and my lifestyle with children and all the things. And yeah, it doesn't, because like if I was getting up at 5:30 to work on client work, that's hustling, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm waking up at 5:30 to give myself that gift of that hour and a half to fill however I want to. It's just for me. My husband's not even up. So it's like, it's such a gift. And I wasn't able to tap into it before. I'm not even going to say, I'm not going to blame myself for what I did in the past. I just, at that time, what was going on in my life, I didn't have the capacity to take advantage of it. And now I do. And it feels awesome. I love it.
And I love how you talked about like the goal was just to get up at 5:30. You didn't be like, I'm going to get up at 5:30 and I'm going to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was one of those that I kind of fell back into the hustle because I was like, I'm going to get up at 5:30. I'm going to get all these things accomplished. And it was a checklist. And yes, they were self-care things. They were gym and journaling and things like that. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, no, I'm gifting myself that time. Yeah. And if those things feel good this morning, that's great. Or if I would prefer to sit on my couch and catch up on the latest episode of She-Hulk, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what feels good that morning. And some mornings I just need to be lazy, but I still like to be up. I take care of the dogs, the cats, and the chickens, and then I'm lazy. Or some mornings I do the yoga and I do the journaling and all of that stuff, but it's a gift to myself.
Yeah, exactly. That when I started out, 3 weeks ago, that's exactly what I said to myself. I was like, I'm not going to commit to doing all the self-care things that you're supposed to do. All I said was, I'm just going to get up and I'm going to go with what my energy, what it's telling me and where it's taking me. Although I do find I do need some sort of thing to do. This is what I'm learning about myself over the last 3 weeks. If I do get up at 5:30, I need something to kind of do, because if I sit there and say, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to fall back asleep. Like that's not going to be helpful. Right. So I do need something active to kind of get me going. So that again, and that's what I'm learning about myself. And maybe other people can kind of go into that sleepy kind of like meditative state and then kind of move on with their day. There's plenty of things people can do to take care of themselves, meditation, movements, journaling, affirmations, like whatever, like there's just so many things. So I am just finally learning to see what's really working for Laura. I don't give a shit about any other programs that are out there or your checklist that you think I should do. I'm going to do what works for me, and it feels great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I have to have something, which is generally like the animals start to bug me. So they force me up because otherwise I'll start scrolling my phone. And if
Yeah.
that happens, then the
Oh,
day is
that's
shot.
another thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no, something's got to get me out of the bed. Otherwise, I will just lay there and scroll until it's like, oh no, now I have to get up, which then I
Yes.
lose the gift of time to myself, whatever it is
Yes.
that I want to do. So,
Yeah, because before, to your point about the scrolling thing, that would be the first thing I would do. I would open up my phone and start scrolling, and then before I know it, 10 minutes has gone by or whatever. So actually, in this new routine, the alarm goes off at 5:30. The other thing I committed to myself is I would not hit snooze, and I have never in my life not hit snooze, no matter what time the alarm went off. So my husband can vouch for that.
yeah, because he'd be like, it's 5:30, do not hit snooze. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he is much appreciative of this new stage. So I committed, okay, I'm going to turn it off and I am going to get up. So I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh, but yeah, so I turn off the alarm and then I don't look at my phone until, now my routine is now I do go down to our basement and I get some movement in, and then I'll get a shower and whatnot. So I really don't look at my phone until probably maybe it's closer to like 7 a.m. Like when I'm finally like, I'm dressed, I got my face on, everything's good, and I'm getting the kids ready. So yeah, and that has been huge. It's allowing me that, like you said, the gift to yourself and not just the mindless scrolling.
The mindless scrolling, which is not a gift to yourself in any way, shape, or form.
I know, but why is it? It's that I don't know if it's a dopamine hit. I don't even know if that's right. But what is it that we're seeking something in that feed, and the feed is endless, and it's like we never reach that thing that we want. It's so
No.
interesting to me.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's like it'll still be there in 2 hours. I mean, some of the stories
Right.
might have disappeared, but is my life going to end if I didn't see somebody's story from yesterday?
Right.
Probably not. I mean,
Exactly.
I can move on. It's fine. It's not a problem. So I don't know. I think my problem right now is that my phone, I use it for my white noise, and so I literally
Okay.
have to grab it to turn it off, and
Mhm.
it's right by my bed, and I need
Of
to put
course.
it across the room and get a white noise machine or put it in another room.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who will turn off my phone because it is my only way for family to get a hold of me. So if there's an emergency, it's got to be somewhere where I can hear it in the night. But I can turn it to do not disturb, so only my family can get to it. And I can put it in another room with the ringer on high and get a white noise machine so that I literally have to get up and move to another room if I want to look at my phone. So
Yeah, it's like, what are the hacks we need to put in place so that we won't do the thing that we don't ultimately want to do?
well, and James Clear is also somebody who talks about you have to set up your environment for the habits that you want to
Yes,
build. So
exactly.
if you don't want to look at your phone first thing in the morning, it probably shouldn't be your alarm clock or whatever sitting right next to your bed. So
Excellent point.
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, love it.
You were talking earlier about you didn't think you should be burnt out because
Mhm.
your kids went to daycare, your husband is supportive. I think one of the ways that we can avoid burnout if we're in the right mindset is also to find support and to outsource some of the things that aren't required of us necessarily to do. So, do you outsource anything in your personal life or in your business that has been extremely helpful for you?
I am the queen of outsourcing. I'll just say that right now. So when I first started my business, I outsourced stuff immediately. I outsourced my like logo design. I mean, most people do that unless you're a graphic designer. Um, but I did that. I outsourced even just getting my website set up and designed. I did that from the beginning. I also outsourced the very initial copywriting that I had on my website. It's transformed, since then. But yeah, I like day one when I was like, oh, I have a business. Okay, I need these things. I'm not a genius in these. I'm going to outsource them. And so initially for me in the beginning of my phases of business, it was outsourcing those types of projects, which is fabulously helpful. But now the stage where I am now, where I'm running a small agency, a bookkeeping agency, I need different types of support that are ongoing, things that I can delegate, get off my plate all the time. So now outsourcing to me feels more like outsourcing a task to a team member to have them do it. And that feels phenomenally supportive. I am just realizing more because I've really grown and embraced that more and more, kind of going back to the topic of giving yourself permission to do that. That's taken me a while because I really thought for a long time. Now, see, the graphic design and the copy, for me, that was clear to me that I was not best at that. But now the things that I'm outsourcing as far as like daily tasks, I used to have this belief that only I could do those things and only I could do them best. And now I have just thrown that completely out the window because these are menial tasks. These are not things that like are rocket science. So now I just document the hell out of everything. Loom videos are my best friend. And anytime I'm sitting down to do something, I now am constantly in that mode of thinking, who could take this off my plate right now? And even if I don't have a team member that could do that right now, I'll sometimes even record the video anyways, because I'm like, well, someday I'm going to have a project manager, or someday I'm going to have a director of ops, and they're going to be able to do that stuff for me. So, and even just that mental freedom, I think, to record the video, even if you can't pass it off just yet, it kind of just gets it off your brain a little bit, and that it's sitting there, that whenever either you can afford to outsource or you're finally open to letting someone into your business, it's sitting there, and you kind of have it gets you a little bit ahead of the curve to do that. Sorry, one other thing I want to say about outsourcing is don't wait until you have everything together to do it. Why do we feel like
going to?
Why do we feel like we want to do this? So I run a bookkeeping agency. You don't know how many times clients come to me and say, well, do I need to have clean books for you to work with me? Hell no, girlfriend. That's why you're hiring me. Like, don't spin your wheels anymore. Like, we are going to do it for you. So, and I have been famous of doing that, thinking like, oh gosh, well, I have to have all of my SOPs documented. I need to have all the Lim videos. It's great if you have some of that, but the point in bringing someone in is they'll create that shit for you. Like, just let them do what they're good at. So yeah, that's my beginning spiel on outsourcing. So now I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Well, it's my whole world of outsourcing kind of started. One of my very first careers was in museum education at a science museum. And we had a new director who came in. And from the start, she said, what if you get hit by a bus tomorrow? Is somebody else going to be able to do your job? Now, they may not be able to do it, just like you tomorrow, but will they know where to even start? And so she made us start documenting anything that we did on a regular basis, any repeatable tasks, I was in education, and so we were, doing programs, and so I had to document the programs and the program development process. The thing is, she was a runner. She would run early in the morning. She got hit by a bus. Now, she was fine. She just got clipped. She got bruised. But she came in one morning and she's like, I jinxed myself, but I just got clipped by one of our buses.
Oh my gosh.
So, that drove home the point better than anything else in my life. So from that point on, so that was in my early 20s. So from there, anytime I do anything, it's just habit now to start documenting. Once I start doing, if I've done a task more than like twice, if I'm now on the third time and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this, I start to document it, screenshots, all of those kind of things. Even if I don't know who or when, I will hand that off. Then the other thing is to remember, when I hand it off to somebody, they may not do it exactly like me, but as long as the results are what I'm looking for, that's the important thing. And they might actually be able to come up with an even more efficient way of doing it, or a better way of doing it, which is hard because I'm known for my efficiency. So it's hard for me to believe sometimes. But I'm like, if that is their zone of genius, if that is what they do well, and they're the ones who are now going to be doing it on a repeated basis and not me, then their way of doing it is the right way for them, as long as the results are what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. So I feel like one of the things that I look for in team members isn't necessarily that they maybe have done the exact thing that I need them to do. It's more, are they a good problem solver? Are they going to kind of go one layer deep? Like if they are somebody who they're chugging along and they hit a roadblock, and then they're like, Laura, what do I do? No, I don't have time for that shit. You need to look around that roadblock, investigate, dig into it. Google is your friend, like in our business, with bookkeeping, like the folks that I'm bringing on, they don't need to be 100% expert in QuickBooks Online because I will teach them. And also they're going to learn just by different things they're going to come across. So, but yeah, they need to have that skill set though, of being able to look beyond the end of their nose and just figure it out. Now they still may hit a roadblock and that's fine. Then, I can step in or another of our lead bookkeepers can step in. But that's something that I'm always looking for because I have worked with folks in the past that really couldn't look beyond the end of their nose. And it just was a waste of my time because I couldn't be that person to document every single step of things they needed to do. So yeah, I learned that lesson early on and ever since have really looked for that skill set in people that I'm bringing on board.
I know one of the things that I often hear about, and when I was a VA experienced, was people not knowing how to delegate or not knowing how to delegate well so that they've set the person up for success. Being vague, not being clear on the outcomes. What have you learned about delegating?
Yeah. Well, I usually, since I am kind of a stickler for, details and stuff, I try and either do like as detailed of a video walkthrough of that task as possible, or maybe sometimes I already have something written that I can beef up or something. So I'll start by giving them, say, that Loom video, for example, and I'll say, hey, go ahead and watch this. Go ahead and try that task and come back to me with questions because then I'll be able to learn, oh, okay, I didn't think about XYZ thing. Maybe we need to add that to the documentation or whatever. But yeah, usually, so I do a VA, and then I've got a team of bookkeepers. And usually when I'm passing things off, it's usually happens in the form of me sitting down doing the video on my time, and then passing it off to them and seeing what questions they have. Because I do find when delegating or training somebody how to do something live, like with an interactive Zoom situation, you can go down rabbit holes really easily. And which is fine, they're learning, right? But sometimes it's better for them to do the damn thing and fail and then come back, and then it'll really cement it for them. Because this happens for me also in one of my service offerings is a QuickBooks VIP day, which the end goal after that is that the business owner is empowered to DIY their books because I've trained them and given them all the documentation and all this stuff. You're seeing a theme here. I'm all about documentation. So in my VIP day, there's a live training component. But what I was going to say about that is usually I have them share their screen and I'm telling them where to point and click because, again, most people learn by doing it themselves. Yes, you can glean knowledge by watching a training video or reading some instructions or something. But when you actually do the task, that's when the learning happens. And then also in that VIP day model, then the client will go off and do it themselves without me, but they still have access to me for 30 days for questions. So that's usually when that really starts to come full circle, is when they come back for the questions. And then they're like, oh, now I finally get it. And then usually they're kind of good from there.
I want to go back to something that you talked about earlier, which was at the start of your business, you are already outsourcing. And I know that a lot of people don't feel like they are allowed to start outsourcing because they haven't made any money yet or they haven't made quote unquote enough money yet. How did you give yourself permission or get over that idea, or did you even have that idea of it's okay to be investing in other people helping me in my business at the very, very start?
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely over the years, I have struggled with spending money, both in my personal life and in the business, which you might find surprising because I have outsourced so much. But usually, like at the start of making that investment, it's not like I had all my shit together and I had all the money just piled up to be like, oh, yeah, I can just spend this money. I usually had to take a leap of faith. Like, for example, when I outsourced my copy, that was multiple thousands of dollars. And at that time, I wasn't really generating multiple thousands of dollars. So I really did kind of take a leap of faith of, okay, well, you know what? I know I'm going to earn this back. And so I think that, and now a couple years in, I'm a lot wiser in that. And I've seen enough where I've seen the full life cycle of, okay, make the investment, even when it's a little early, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when maybe you don't have all the funds, because now I've seen the other side of it. By outsourcing those things, it frees you up to do more sales and marketing, to service more clients, take on that other client that might be knocking down your door, because now you're not worried about writing the damn copy for your website. Again, unless you're a copywriter.
At which point you're going to have somebody else help you with something else.
with your bookkeeping, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think I would say you really have to, it's taking a chance on yourself and knowing that this is going to pay off because it's freeing you up to focus on the things that are going to make you money. Because writing the copy for your website, I mean, yes, there's a return on that. I don't want to diminish that. But if that's not your zone of genius, it's not going to be your primary revenue generation, right? It's going to be out networking with people and pushing people to your website. How do you think they're going to get on the damn website? You got to make connections. You got to join, you and I came from the same coaching group for Done in a Day. You got to join those types of things. And that was an investment too. I'm actually curious how was that for you to make that investment? Because that was a significant investment.
Yeah, it was. And it came right after I had finished my certification for online business management. And that first one, that certification program, I was a VA. I came across OBM, knew right away that was a better fit for me. And I remember my partner had just left for work. He leaves for a week at a time, and he had only been gone. He had been on the road for like an hour, and I just got off like the discovery call with the institute that I was doing the certification with, and I said, "Here's the deal. It's like $7,000,
Right.
and that's a lot of money." I had just sold my house. I had some money in savings that would cover most of it. It wasn't a big deal, but it was like that was a big amount of money still. And I was like, but this is the pay for an OBM versus a VA is substantially higher. I have all these different routes. I'll be able to leave I was subcontracting at the time with an agency, so I could go out on my own with more confidence. And we were just like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer because 6 months, a year from now, you will have made that money back, maybe even shorter. So when Done in a Day came up, and it was about the same amount of money of investment.
Exactly.
It was like, okay, well, I know that I don't want to continue this path of retainer work. Everything I learned in the certification program is great. I'm still doing limited retainers, but most of my business, I don't want it to be retainer work. I could create the VIP day all by myself and eventually be just fine. But that might take me 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or I could do this program and have support. And also, my gosh, the network that we built by being in this program, that's
huge.
Priceless right there. So it was kind of like, nope, going to sign up. It was not a problem. And I think the more I invest in myself, because then after that, it was like, nope, now I'm going to join a mastermind because I'm seeing they're not immediate necessarily like tangible money in the bank. Like I can't be like, oh, I did Done in a Day and immediately I saw this in my bank account. But the network I have built, the confidence in myself, all of those things are just priceless. So it was completely worth the investment. And I think, like you said, with the you could write your own sales page copy and you might get sales. But if you have a copywriter write it, you might get even more sales.
Exactly. Yes.
Because that is what they do, and that's what they do well. So if you want,
Right.
you can get sales off your sales page just fine, probably. But do you want to 10x that? So get the sales page writer. So
yeah. I find that investments, to your point, which you've been kind of talking about, they help you shortcut the process a little bit. You could do all this stuff slow and steady, and you could have, tried to create that VIP day over a period of a year or two, lots of troubleshooting and maybe not finding ideal clients. You got so much clarity from being in that program, and the contacts you made. Again, I completely agree. That program for me was more than worth it, just from the people that I met, honestly. And I think that program also kind of gave me permission to charge my worth and really put boundaries around that VIP day. I think if I had kind of done that on my own, I might have let it get to be a VIP week, but still only charge the day rate kind of thing. But here's a cool example of how I've maintained some of the boundaries. So I was doing the VIP days, just me. And then recently, when I hired my last bookkeeper about a month ago, for training purposes, I was like, "Ooh, go ahead and why don't you sit in on one of these VIP days? You'll learn a ton about how to build QuickBooks and how this online business world works and whatever, all the things." And then she also helped in the background. Like, she did a ton of stuff that I normally would not have time to do. And so afterwards, her and I were brainstorming about, like, okay, I think you know where I'm going with this. Like, hey, let's have you join all of my VIP days, but let's charge more for this because they are getting so much more value. I did a couple of them for free because it was I was figuring it out. So yeah, in the last month I did 2 of them and had her join. And again, those folks got freebies, but now I'm going to start quoting like, hey, there's the basic VIP day with just me, which is basically you'll get your QuickBooks SOP manual out of it. Or we can do cleanup and catch up for you for an additional X or whatever. So that's kind of like I don't know what to call it because it's already called a VIP day. So where do you go from there? The ultra,
extra,
mega,
Uber VIP day. Yeah, I love that. And there's so much room to grow and change your offer when you have support. There's things that I want to create and add to my catalog of offers that I know are going to require support. I want to do it. I could do it, but why in the world would I do it all by myself? Because not only will it be a better offer or service to the client, but it's better for me to do it with support. So where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so on my website, TulaBooks.co, there's a bunch of big buttons that say book a call. So one of my core values is I really value deep connection, deep one-on-one connection with people. So that's always the first step in the process for me. Yes, you can join my email list, although I've kind of neglected them a little bit recently. I have a freebie on my website. Yes, you can do all those things. You can follow me on Instagram. I do put out pretty regular content there. But where the real jam is going to be for me is that one-on-one call. And, it's a no pressure situation. We're just trying to learn about your situation and see, okay, are you a fit for monthly bookkeeping? Okay, maybe you're not right now, but maybe you're a fit for the VIP day, or maybe we'll be a fit in 6 months. So it's not a scary call, but I really value that deep connection one-on-one with folks, which is what I'm doing with you right now, Jackie. So, so go ahead and click that button to book a call on my website.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
All right. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Here's What I Learned. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow and leave a review. Remember, there's always something new to learn. Stay curious and never stop asking questions.